Okay. I'm Andre. I'm Andre of Zebra BI. So I've been a consultant for 20 years, actually, implementing reporting systems, OLAP systems, planning systems, and so on. I think I've used all, I've tried every BI software out there. Incidentally, I think some 10 years ago, I've been working with Tableau on a couple of projects and so on. But then somehow I switched to Excel for a substantial period of time, for some 10 years, I'd guess. And then while we were using the Excel, I saw the need for different types of data visualization, which we were able to solve in Excel, but not in other tools, which eventually led to Zebra BI add-in for Excel, which was our first product that we started selling 4 years ago. And starting from last year, we tried to do the same inside Power BI. All right, and this is what I intend to present today, and hopefully I'll also be able to show the reasons behind it, why we thought we needed to do something like that. So if that's okay,
that's
I should.
Yeah, let's dig in and show us all about it.
All right, cool. All right, so so the title obviously is Building Spectacular Power BI Dashboards with Zebra BI Visuals. This small warning here, this is a different type of spectacular. So just, if you just Google the term dashboard, if we start with the dashboard, you'll get different types of solutions. It looks, many of them will look very spectacular. But with Zebra BI, we'll actually we actually feel that a different type of spectacular is needed in order to present the data in a really clear way, especially with the with business users and with finance users and so on. So actually, I did. I started most of my talks with a slide like this. Like even 10 years ago, it looked pretty similar, maybe even more spectacular, because 10 years ago, the 3D was so popular and so on. So now this has changed in the last 10 years. Now the flat design is popular and so on, which of course is great, but it still does not solve all the problems in data visualization. So so for example, if you just take a look at any of these dashboards, you will see like charts like this. Obviously, there's some 5 or 7 seconds delay here, so I'll have to wait a little bit. But if you just take a look at any of the standard charts that are being used today to build the dashboards, the problem is that many times they don't really carry the message across to the end user. Like especially, the most important question is if this is a dashboard for a certain period, like for a certain month or year to date or something, is this good or bad? That's the first obvious question, and many times people cannot really tell. Okay, is this now good or bad? I see a lot of red, a lot of green, but this does not mean good or bad here in this case, right? It's actually the assignment of color is completely arbitrary. It's many times it's just selected by the tool, and even on the same dashboard page, one color can mean multiple things, right? And that's why we feel that problem needs to be addressed somehow. And in order to, for the end users to be able to read the reports and understand information much in a deeper way. And then, the next question, why is this good or bad? What contributed the most? How much? What are we going to do about it? So we feel that the dashboards would need to be more and more actionable, right? And the reason, the key reason behind it is that many times those the charts themselves do not actually don't present the context of the information, so they just present the structure, even the most popular, some of the most popular charts or visuals out there, many times they just visualize the structure of data. Like, for example, here, the breakdown of the revenue by product, right? We do understand that, the Primus product is like the largest and so on, right? But, is this good or bad? And this depends now on the context, right? Maybe it's a lot, but it's below the budget, right? Or maybe it's a lot, but it's, but the growth from previous year is negative, right? And we don't see this in visualizations like that. So this is a typical problem. So that's why we developed the Zebra BI custom visuals, which actually present the data always together with the context, right? And also add a few more data visualization methods that help you, present the breakdown by product or something in a different way with small multiples. We take care of the scaling and other things, right? So let me just wait like 5 seconds for the screen to come through. All right. So for example, here on the right side with the gross margin chart, what is Carlos's performance, right? Is it good or bad? It's really hard to say. It's kind of a spaghetti chart here, and there must be better way to understand information in a different way. So let me switch to Power BI now. What I'm showing.
You sound like you're moving furniture over there, Edridge.
All right. Okay.
It's coming through fine. So actually, I don't think you need to pause. Yeah. We're looking good.
The delay is like 10 seconds, so it's a little bit awkward, but hopefully you'll be able to follow me. All right, so this is a dashboard done with Zebra BI visuals, right? So as you see, it looks slightly different. Actually, a quick warning here: everything from now on will be done in 3 colors only. Of course, you can change the colors, right? But just to get my message across, it's some things are really important, and it's not always to have everything very, very colorful, right? So in our case, for example, here I have a breakdown by chain and category and so on, and you see I have my sales compared to the plan, right? So for each product category, I see the variance to plan, like the absolute variance to plan and the relative variance to plan, right? I can sort. All right. If you click on the, all right, now it's coming up. So this was the women's category and so on. But if you click on the header, on the column header, this will be sorted now. Okay, now it's coming through, right? So you can simply sort by clicking on the headers. And of course, with the amazing Power BI, interactivity, you can just click on the women's category for example, and everything else is filtered.
While you're waiting for that to open up,
Yep.
Tristan, one of our MVPs who you met in Dublin, was asking, actually was saying, did you choose these visuals out of like a Stephen Few or maybe one of the charts? In this case, it's actually the standard that you guys are working with, IBCS, right?
Exactly, exactly. The standard that we are supporting actually for a long time is the IBCS, International Business Communication Standards, which sort of builds on Edward Tufte and Jacques Bertin and maybe a couple of other guys. So, but that's like the foundation. That's from the visual point of view. So, you know, the data Inc., clean visualizations, no decorative stuff and so on. But more than that, the IBCS standard also provides a semantic layer. So for example, if we take now this chart on the left side, right, the waterfall chart, you see that the first column here, which is 2.7 million, that's the plan, right? And this column, it only has the border, right? While on the other side, on the right side, you have the actuals, right? So this is now the plan versus actual, which is unfortunately minus 33% here, and in between you have the variances. So what you're seeing here is like the plan is always visualized as it always has the frame, the border, because we believe that, you know, the plan is like a frame that you need to fill up with the actuals, right? Once you get them, right? And then the variances are always visualized in red, green, or, you know, if you feel that if you feel that red, green is not appropriate because of the visual deficiencies or so on, you can use blue red or blue orange combinations. But you know, the important thing is the consistency. It's always the same. So it's like traffic signs, you know, it's like traffic signs for the management, right? It's always the same. So you understand what you're looking at. You understand, okay, this is a plan, this is a forecast, these are my actuals, right? And this is the variance, and this is the absolute variance. Then the relative variance is always visualized as in this chart that we call the lollipop chart here on the right, and so on, right? So for example, let me demonstrate how this works. Okay, I'll just delete everything here, and I'll just delete everything and just try to recreate this, because it appears that I'm using a lot of charts here on one page, okay? But in fact, these are just two visuals that you need to work with, okay? So, for example, if I start with the first one, which is used mainly for time series. So if you have, you know, data by month or quarters, years, and so on, then you would use this one. And so I'll just throw in my sales and my goal. All right, I'll just wait for the screen to show up. So you'll notice now when I have added the value, I just got a simple column chart. Right now you see 22.1 million, and then I'm adding the goal, and you see now the chart switched to a simple waterfall chart, you know, which explains, okay, I have a previous year value here, 23%, and compared to actual, and all the variances are calculated immediately, right? Because this is a type of because my KPI here is actually a kind of a plan, I will now move this KPI to the data field for the plan, and you will see that the notation on the left side will change. All right, now I'm moving it, and it will change. Okay, so this is it. Of course, it's much more interesting if we break this down by month. Okay, and now I've got a nice little waterfall chart right here. While we are waiting for this to be displayed, you will notice that on the right side, you have a little arrow. So we have minus 4.7%, which is now the difference to the total plan, right? And in between we have the variances. Okay. Now, if I just click on the label of this difference highlight, I will just switch to million euros, so from percentage to million euros, or if I click once more, I got both the absolute variance and the relative variance displayed on the visual, right? So it's really easy to switch. And if you don't like this chart, you can now just slide. So I will just slide through the options here. So on the right side, there's the little slider arrow, which lets users change the type of chart. So it's multiple types of charts packed into the same visual. Okay, and the visual is completely responsive, which I think it's a really strong strong feature of our visual, because sometimes you have a small amount of space, so you need small charts like this one, which is very compact and so on. But if you do have more space, then you make it bigger, and not that just the normal the chart will become bigger, which is the fact. Like in every BI tool, you make it bigger and the chart is bigger. But in our case here, if you have more space, then more information is presented. Okay.
So Andre, I want to stop you right there. This is like almost magic of what you're showing. Does anybody else do this? I don't think I've ever seen any other visual inside of Power BI do what you're doing.
I haven't seen this before, so maybe this is like the the world's first completely responsive BI visualization or something. You will see that.
So we're now seeing three visuals, and the only change that you made was just giving it more real estate.
I just made it bigger, right? And because you have more space, because if you have more space, it's just more information is presented, right? So you've got the relative variance, you've got the absolute variance, you've got both, the actuals and the plan, and also the total, the total variance. And this is I think extremely important for the Power BI, because you have really cool features like the focus mode, right? If you have a small chart like this, it's very compact and so on. But if a user will click on the focus mode, right, the chart will become big in the focus mode, right, and will not just become a bigger chart, but we'll have more information like this, right? So it's I think it's it's something that it's quite needed for Power BI, and the even more so. For example, if I switch back to my waterfall chart, now the next thing that is chronically missing in BI tools are the small multiples. Only a few products can really handle the small multiples. So for example, if you want to break the numbers down by the product, okay, so now I'm adding the product category here, and as you will notice, the same visual now displays more charts. So now I'll just make it bigger. I'm just making it bigger, and I've got 9 charts for 9 products, right? And as you will notice, all the charts are completely scaled. Okay, scaling is, I think, #1 problem in data visualization. Maybe next to labeling, and as you see here in this, so that's still the same visual, right? It just displays the small multiples if you add more dimensions to the visual. And now this works, of course, for everything that you do. Like if you change the calculation, it will change in all the charts, or you can just again slide through your charts. So we perceive this more or less like looking at the pictures, like you would look at the pictures on your mobile phone of your family, of your or your dog maybe. So we try to do this, with the business data.
Hey, I want to interrupt
everything
you.
else,
I want to interrupt you just for a second. Mehdi Hamadi is asking, what is the limit of numbers in one visual? It appears it is 3. I don't understand what he's asking. Do you know what that means? What that person's asking? I want to read it to you one more time.
Well, if it's the limit of there are no limits in terms of the number of data categories. I mean, I have examples with hundreds of charts on one page, and it's actually rendered amazingly fast. Maybe he's referring to the number of what we call the business scenarios, which are the actual values, previous year, plan, and the forecast, because these are the 4 key business scenarios that every company has, more or less, right? So maybe he's referring to this.
So Meche Besnik has actually went through and answered. I don't know if Meche it's actually on your team, or it sounds like they're using Zebra BI.
Micha is on our team. Yeah. Oh,
okay,
thanks,
good.
Micha.
Yeah, he's on the team. He's actually been answering. Thank you, Micha. So yeah, okay.
Great. Okay,
perfect. I'm sorry to interruption.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So, all right. So this is the first visual, just briefly, and then the next visual, the second one. Okay, the second one is used for structured data, which means that, for example, if I add the sales, and as you will see, I'll add the goal, and this time I will do an analysis by product category. Okay, so that's why I will use the chart with the vertical axis. Okay, it's coming up now. So now I'm comparing sales to my plan and break this down by product category. And you see, it's a similar type of chart. Again, this is completely responsive. So if I make it bigger, it's presented in a more clear way. With more details, instead of using the integrated chart with everything compact on a small amount of space, there will be, the visual will be presented, the information will be presented in a more, with more details and spacing. And again, if you're really careful, you will understand that the delta previous year, so the difference to previous year here is scaled. So it's rendered on the same scale. So like the y-axis of both charts is automatically in sync, right? And this is how you understand, how much is the growth from previous year actually, right? Is it something, something really important that we need to take care of or not, right? And then if you add more dimensions, like, if I add the store chain or something, of course, again, this will produce the multiples. And in my case, it's actually the multiples of several charts repeated, right? And okay, it should come up in a couple of seconds, hopefully. And now, so these are actually our 2 visuals, right? And now you can build the whole, the dashboard, the mobile dashboards, reports, dashboards, only with those 2 visuals. Like, for example, let me just throw the chain out, right? And now, because with the fantastic interactivity of Power BI, this makes a lot of sense. So, for example, if I now click on the women's category, the chart on the left side will be filtered, and our visual will present only the woman's category, right? With a really big chart. You see that? So from one, from the small multiple, focus on just the woman's because you, of course, selected it, or you can control click and you will compare it to, for example, the men's category. Of course, everything will be rendered always in the same scale, and also the charts, are the charts are being are always scaled. You see, so now I will add more products, selected more products with control click. And I'll just always have, all the charts that I actually need. So everything is fully responsive, which makes it, I think, quite powerful for the end user. All right. Now the same visual. This same visual can do many things. Like, for example, if you now go and add more dimensions, so I'll just throw in the stored chain once again on my right visual. So now you have the multiple, but then it depends on the type of data. So, for example, if I would construct a hierarchical category here, so I'll just move the chain on top of category, on my right side. That's building a hierarchical data set, right? Again, the display will change and will adapt to the nature of these data sets, like the hierarchy. So you see, and it's now it's switched to like a table chart combination, which again is completely responsive, right? If you have a lot of space, then you have the, as in my case here, the previous year, the actual, the absolute variance, and the relative variance. And if I make it smaller, you will see that it responds while I'm moving my mouse. It just adapts my display. So, for example, if I would do, a mobile report, it would look like this. And if I would do a dashboard, it would be bigger, right? Okay. Now, just regarding the colors, many times people ask me about, the colors. Oh, we don't like this, blue. We don't like the black and so on. Can we do something about it? Of course, the visuals have a lot of settings. Of course, all the labels and everything. That you can change the layouts, the labels. You can change the design completely. So there are some pre-built designs inside of the visual, but you can just switch to custom, and then you can just change the color to anything, like there's a positive blue, and then the negative would be orange, and the neutral can be another type of blue or something, right? So you can change it completely. But built in, we have like the recommended color schemes by the IBCS standard, or we also have the Power BI theme embedded in the visual itself, right? Okay, so what I wanted to refer to your initial remark regarding Matt Allison's, example from your previous webinar, because I think, just in contrast to what a normal chart will look like. So let me just try to recreate what Matt had really briefly. So, he had some actuals compared to the plan, and I think it was by month or something. Yeah, sure. So let me just try to build this really quickly. So this is now the standard, just a normal chart, side by side column chart. by month, right? And as you see, it's completely different here. So, if it's small, it's a small chart. If it make it big, it's a big chart. If you put it to focus mode, it's always the same. And but the point which Matt was making is, you don't really see the difference between the columns, right? And this is exactly what our visuals do, right? So instead of always looking at, a lot of those greenish and grayish colors, you will always see the difference, right? You will always see the difference, which of course we feel is actually the most important part of any business dashboard or financial dashboard, right? And this is, for example, here in my other example, this is exactly this type of chart, right? So, and if it's small, it's like this. If it's big, it's like this. So it should be coming up soon. And okay, and this time I still have only the comparison to, for example, to budget, right? And now a typical situation, during the business year would be that, you have your budget values until the end of the year, and then you have your actuals up until the last actual month, right? Like in my case, September, right? And it's always, the whole reporting is always, like looking at the past, what has happened, but you rarely take a look in the future, right? And for example, in my case, it would be really interesting to see, okay, what will happen for the rest of the year, right? I have the budget. Will I meet the annual budget or not, right? So, for example, if you switch to year to date, and this is actually something similar to what Matt had, right? I see my budget for the year to date, so this is my end of year now, but will I meet it or not? So in this case, of course, if you're lucky enough and also have the data, if you have a forecast, right? If you can work with the forecast, then you can also just take the forecast and add this to our third scenario here. And now you will see what happens is that, of course, now the forecast for the rest of year is compared to my budget, right? And this makes much more sense because now you have included a little bit of the future into your dashboards, right? Which is something nobody is doing, but we feel it's really, really important. And I think like this, the top chart. The chart on the top is something that Matt was trying to build in his example. So as you see now in our visual, this is actually what the visual does by default, right? Okay, so as you see, you can construct not just normal charts, but charts with multiple segments, right? Now, of course, if you have a nice data model, you can switch from monthly to year to date, or even if you switch it off and you add like if you have a period calculation in your model, which would return, both the monthly values and the year-to-date values, you can get both into the same visual, right? Which is something that is not really possible in Power BI to have both the year-to-date and monthly values scaled, which was a recent discussion, I think, also in the Power BI Champions list, right? So this is something similar to what was discussed there, right? Where you have different, where you actually have two charts and they're perfectly scaled, right? And now you can look at this with different types of charts. So now I'll slide to the next chart and just see which one is more suitable. For example, in this case, with the year-to-date, you always get those diagonal columns, and it doesn't make much sense, to have so much ink. So maybe this one with the lines is better. It's really minimal, right? But you can judge from the little red and green color, what has happened in the past and what is going to happen until the end of year. And you see here you have this difference highlight here, which you can actually move And you can say, okay, I actually want to display it from, what would this be? Last forecast value to the corresponding budget value. And now you understand that, until the end of the year, we expect 7% growth according to the budget. All right. Let me wait till this moves up. So maybe one more thing here, if I can quickly build another example, which is also something hard to do in Power BI, is the P&L statement, income statements. I've seen a lot of them, and the challenge here with the P&L is that the data set that you have as a P&L has certain elements which are like good KPIs, like the revenue, the sales, and so on. And then you also have like the bad KPIs in the same data set, right? Which is quite a challenge in data visualization, because within the same data set you're mixing good and bad KPIs. And if, for example, the revenue growth from previous year, it's positive, right? So the positive growth it's a good thing. It has a positive effect on the positive contribution to the final result, right? To the EBIT, right? Or net income. And while if the expenses are growing, right, this has a negative effect, right? And it's all presented in the same visual, in the same chart, same table, right? That's why the same visual that I have shown before also has, some advanced features, like, for example, you can tag for each row whether it's a good or bad KPI. So with each row that presents costs, you can just invert. You can right-click and you say invert, right? And this will change the meaning of this line item here, and it will, change the whole calculation, so you always have the correct calculation. So, so this is one challenge in the P&L, to mark certain lines as costs and then dynamically adapt the visualization. And the other one is that you also have the subtotals. Actually, they are not just subtotals, they are sub-calculations. And this is also done, supported in the Zebra BI visuals in this way, right? So, okay, I think I better, stop my presentation here before I get into too many details, and just try to answer some questions instead.
I'm sorry, I just stepped away for a second. Did I miss a question, Andrej?
I would actually love to hear some of the questions. Okay. I think that's better to hear some questions, not just present the features. So I'm sure there are many questions.
Yeah, so Vikash was asking if you could, and you may have shown this, and I was answering questions, and I apologize, was asking, can you do drill down? Can I go out and take a look at
sure.
everything that happened in a particular month, or can I look at?
Oh yeah, of course. So for example, let's do a monthly, and so you can do a drill down in any type of chart, right? So again, sorry, 10 seconds. 10 seconds, and for example, let's do the drill down in the waterfall chart. First of all, there are things like, you can break the axis actually. So if you just click on the column marker here, I've got the, the axis break here. It's just one click away. But now you see, this is now presented for the whole year. And I actually have a hierarchy, year, quarter, month hierarchy here. In my categories on the x-axis. And of course, you can do the drill down in all standard Power BI ways. So for example, if I do the drill down, if I enable the drill down mode, you can just go down and drill into So sorry. First, I'll need to, of course, go. First, I need to drill up. All right. So, for example, this would be the full year. This would now be the full year in a couple of seconds. All right.
Yep.
So what you're observing right now is the monthly level. So I'll go just drill up right to the years level, and now of course now I can go and do the drill down first into the year into 2017. Sorry, no, it's. All right. And so now I have the quarters, right? And then, so I have so now I have quarter over quarter, quarter growth. I have the forecast over plan, and I will just drill into Q4, and pay attention to the left top title as I'll do this, because it will change. Also, the title will change, which is something of a, it's a little challenge in standard Power BI charts. You never know where you are with the drill down. So we actually paid, we paid a lot of attention to small details like that. So, the title will change and will indicate that this is now the 2017 quarter 4, and you only have the, October, November, December, so it's on the axis. So the axis is clean, it's not just adding the year, the month, and the quarter and the month labels, right? So it's always clean, and then you go up, and you can do the expand all down 2 times and so on. Bless you. And again. So that was the drill down. Yeah, you can do this with, you can actually do this with multiple charts. All right. So it kind of, it can get quite crazy because, for example, you can drill down into small multiples. So let me do this on my second example, which is coming up in a few seconds. Again, I will switch to the quarters, and now I can, let's try to do the drill down into Q4 here. Right, now it's coming up. No. I don't know why it should. Let me try another one. All right, maybe there's no data on the Q4 on a monthly level. It should be somehow, but you see, it works with the multiples as well. So yeah, it can get quite crazy. And as you see, as I'm doing this, the chart layout is adapting. So if you have fewer data categories, there are more columns in the small multiples matrix. Also, the first chart, like for the stationary period, is much, the sales of that is much bigger than other ones. So it occupies 2 rows in the matrix, right? Which is something that even Tableau cannot do according to my information. So we're quite proud of the small multiples, how they are done here. Also, you see the tooltips and other standard features of Power BI. Of course, they are here. You can turn them on and off. I hope this answered the question.
It does. And then Vikash Rickshot, and I apologize if I just destroyed your name, was asking, how come isn't this in App Source? When I go to Visuals, I don't see it. And I think that may be more of a answer for me than you, is that the reason you actually aren't seeing like the SQL BI Synaptic panel, you're not seeing the power on grid, and you're not seeing this, is because we actually haven't got the commerce working inside of the App Source itself. This is why people like Andres are actually forcing people to go back into that trial experience. That's accurate for you guys, right? That's why you guys aren't in App Source?
That's sort of accurate. We would definitely love to have it in the App Source. We are working on it, and hopefully together with Microsoft we'll achieve this. as soon as possible. We are actually highly motivated to do this. As Chuck has mentioned, there are some problems with that. So right now it's like this, but it's something we are working on. And actually, we would also love to have a freemium, a free version of this as well. So right now we have a really simple solution with the existing, support for the custom visuals. We have a free trial, which we just extend indefinitely to people who are willing to use our visuals. And of course, we also sell the licensed visuals, especially to clients who would like to roll it out, and they also maybe need some support or something, and make sure that everything is they have the full service. So we kind of have both, and we at the moment we just have the visuals. There's a free and public download.
Yeah, I was going to say there's been lots and lots of questions for that. So if you could bring up that tab. So what we're seeing here, guys, is actually a live interactive view. So actually it's a published to web, and you can actually go out and play with it on their website. So go to that link right there, the zebrabi.com/PBI, and it's live, and there's got
exactly. Yeah, this is the link. Yeah. And then this is the link. So this is live. So this is completely live. So for example, this is just published to web, right? So you can just publish to web here, and so this is a example, like I think the same one that I actually have shown today. And if you go down, you just scroll down. You have the you have the opt-in form. So you have to provide the email, and then you will get to this email that you provide. You will get the both of the visuals, like the download link for both of the visuals, and they will be valid for at least 30 days. I think 30 or 45 days, and then after this period, you just reply back, and we'll just send you the links to new ones, so you can just extend your free trial. This is temporary solution for now, and hopefully we'll have the visuals on the App Store as well.
Outstanding. And then Pal, I actually scrolled off the top. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Pal Jasinski was asking, can you reduce the number of items in the waterfall to the top 5 bars and put the other one in a group called other? So he's talking about like
great question. Great question. At the moment, you can do this with some DAX. But this is actually in our backlog. So this will be something that that the visual itself will be able to do. So we are adding features like that. We have weekly builds. So we're just adding features. We have a really great team of developers behind this product. So we are adding features like this, and this is definitely on our list. Not just within as the data categories within one waterfall chart, but only in small multiples. Also in small multiples, for example, if you have a lot of products, even in the small multiples, you'll be able to do the same thing, like just display the top 10 charts, and then for everything else, there will be the other, right? I mean, it's trivial to set this to top 10, because you can just do it as a built-in filter in Power BI. You just use the top 10 and that's it. But the problem is you never know what is the other, right? And this is very important in data visualization, right? To understand what is the share of the top 10, for example, right? Not just to filter them, but to see them in the context of your whole sales, right? This is not supported by the Power BI at the moment in the front end. Of course, you can do it as a DAX calculation, but we'll also do it in the visuals. Yeah, quite soon.
And I guess for our last one, because we're between Meche and the Richard Van der Poel and a couple other people that have been answering most of the questions. So can we actually see other calorie palettes? Right now we're going to the IBCS recommended. Can we actually look at like a...
Okay, sure. Well, the palettes,
Yeah.
the built-in palettes are there are a couple of built-in palettes. Maybe even more interesting is if we also have a subscriber, so the member login. So maybe I'll just show you all the possibilities that you can do. So for example, in this would be now like the member. The member page, but I'm showing this because we actually have a style editor, as we call it, where you can actually, it's something like the theme, the theme generator for the Power BI, but it's slightly more user-friendly maybe. So for example, you can just, we have color pickers and everything. You can say, okay, I want this to be green or blue. I'm using colors like this. My column charts, I want them to, by default, to have this color, and the lines, the markers, even the axes and so on. All the fonts, the fonts. I mean, you can have the Comic Sans fonts. Not that I would recommend that, but I think it's actually listed here. So don't do this at home, please. But but it's possible. It's possible, right? So you can have the like magenta and so on, and then you save it. And now when you will download your visuals, so now I'll just download both of the visuals. So these are the PBI Wiz files, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I have downloaded them, and now I will just add them, or basically replace them. So okay, let me go to this screen here. All right, and now I'll just import the visuals. And I'll just go to my downloads folder, and I'll try to. I'm doing this live now, so hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, demos
It
without
should.
demos without a net are always dangerous. You know that.
Yeah, so far it's just working amazingly well. So, all right, and now I'll just okay, you see?
That's so cool. The nice thing about that is you can't get off the rails. When you go out and use a color theme, people could still go out and override it with
Yeah,
a normal color or
yeah,
a custom color. And this
yeah.
actually make sure that the whole company or whoever's
Exactly,
is
because
using the
now
standard.
exactly. Now the whole report, not just this page, but my whole report is exactly in those colors that I have assigned, because they are embedded in the visual. If I now edit this report and click on any of the visuals now, if you will now go to the style, to the settings, design settings, you will find that actually my style that I have set on my web page has been added to the visual itself, and it's the default now, right? So this doesn't only work on this report; it actually works on all my reports in in my workspace. So the bigger idea behind the Zebra BI visuals is the consistency of reporting. So that if you have like 100 users or even 20 users or 1,000 users, right, that you want to make sure that they are using the same color palettes, the same, not just the colors, the shapes, the colors, the shapes, the font types, everything like that. So, of course, I wouldn't use it to switch all my titles to magenta, Comic Sans titles, right? But I would maybe use it, to make sure that everything that people are creating within the company, is consistent maybe with your corporate design or with your internal, internal colors or reporting standards, right? That's the bigger idea behind the Zebra BI visuals.
Makes perfect sense. And I want to thank you. I want to thank Meche. Meche is actually now one of our moderators. He gets to help me forever and
Oh,
ever.
great. Thanks, Mitya.
Lots of questions about, is this recording going to be available? Yes, as soon as I actually hit stop, the recording's going to immediately be available. So for the 250 people who are watching, if they want to go back and watch the beginning, or for people that missed it entirely, yeah, they can go back and watch it. And otherwise, Andre, I'm going to hand it back to you to close.
All right, thank you, Chuck. So I'm sorry for this delay. It's been really, it's been a challenge to do this. Yeah, maybe I would just like to repeat that. You just go to just download the visuals. If you just go to zebrabi.com webpage, you will see that actually our other product is Excel. So for Power BI, just click here, available for Power BI. So this is the link. So once again, zebrabi.com /PBI. So you just download the visuals there, and you will also find some webinar recordings on our help page. The help page is kind of basic right now, but I would say that the two webinar recordings that you'll find at the bottom of this page are probably our best resource right now. Otherwise, there are some other resources as well. So, the features
Ariel
so on.
from Canada was just asking for that, so that's perfect timing.
Yeah. All right. Great. Yeah. There are lots of details, lots of other details that just impossible to show here in a limited time. So that's it from my side. If there are any other questions, I can stay and try to answer. Otherwise, please contact us. Give us your feedback, please. This is quite new. It's quite new. So we love to learn from everybody. And just download the visuals. And if you need more time, just get in touch with us. We'll send you new links. We'll be happy to stay in touch.
Sounds good. So hopefully everybody's downloaded the trial or actually requested the trial. Also, I don't know if you guys saw just recently at Build, we announced the fact that custom visuals are going to be made available for Excel Online. So you can actually use everything that you just saw in Excel Online as well. How exciting!
Oh yeah, I'm quite very, very excited. Especially, we have a history with Excel.
Yep.
We've been, actually the same things, more or less all the things that I have shown right now are already, we have done them in Excel first, and this is still our flagship product, the Zebra BI Excel add-in, right? Completely different technology, but it can do the multiples and the year-over-year growth rates and everything, right? Also in Excel, but now, there will be with sharing, with custom visuals running inside Excel, there'll be even more options to do that.
Well, outstanding. Thank you very much. And I guess I'm going to see you in July, my friend. So
hopefully.
I'm going to send you an invite. We're going to have a barbecue out at my house. We're going to have fresh fish.
Oh, great. All right. Now I'm all right. I'll come.
All right.
Thanks, Chuck. And
Talk to
thanks,
you later.
everybody.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Bye.